There he is.
There he is. There he is. There he is. What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's been a long, long day. I've been very, very.
Well,
I've been
I
a
mean,
very
you're
busy.
probably
What?
sushi hungover.
That wasn't too bad. I didn't eat too much. I
Oh,
here's the listen. Okay, here's all the planning that went into that. My brother got tickets to go see a movie today. So
right.
I was like, yeah, I'm in. So this was like a couple days ago. He told me about this because he's a very busy man, and so I planned to like yesterday to not eat all day. I was like, I'm gonna just not
Right.
eat so that tomorrow, let me just eat a giant bucket of popcorn at the movie theater, and if I'm
Right.
hungry
You had it all
later,
planned out.
had it all planned out. Then he drops the "you want to go get something to eat beforehand," and I'm like, here
Right.
we go, sushi buffet.
But
Obviously,
I called it yesterday.
obviously.
I called it yesterday. I said sushi buffet. I knew that was going to happen.
I mean, it's always up for discussion. Uh, so
Right.
so then I so then here's the thing. I woke up this morning and I made a I made a point to wake up like early enough to kind of like try and shake things loose because I was like I don't want to have to take a shit uh at the sushi place because that's fucking disgusting. And then I'm like, also, then we're going right to a movie. I don't want to have to shit the movie because A, I'll miss the movie, and B, I don't, I'm sure the bathrooms are clean at the movie theater, but still, it's like you want to be at home base. So I woke up early, and again, I hadn't eaten the day before, so it kind of got my whole system out of whack.
Right.
And I was like trying, I was squeezing, I was praying. I got up, I did some jumping jacks. I, did some skip to Maloo around the apartment, just anything to shake things loose. Like he sent me a message, said he was running 3 minutes late leaving the house. I took that as another opportunity to go run to the bathroom and try again. I got out what I could. I was
Right.
not satisfied, not satisfied. And then I threw like two big plates full of like sushi and whatever stir fry and whatever else they had, on top of what was in me, and I was like hurting. I went into that movie. Not only was like there was like no room left, I was like expanding in places that I like my upper belly area. Like it was like sitting up to, like up like above my ribs. It was
Right.
like and like out to the sides it was swelling. It wasn't like my stomach was full and this was now finding new places for the food to sit. And again, I had gone to the bathroom a couple times that morning and I hadn't eaten the day before. I thought I would solve this whole problem. Apparently not.
Right.
So then there was a whole thing where like there was so many previews before, like I pee as we're going in the movie theater into the theater to walking into
Right.
our theater. So many previews. By the time the previews are done, I gotta pee again. So I run out and pee trying to before the movie actually starts. And so I guess from like whatever I drank at the buffet. So yeah, it was like,
Right.
and then I get out and like, yeah, I didn't feel it till I stood up, and as soon as I stood up, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it home or not. So
Oh my God.
my brother's like, you need to stop anywhere on the way, or you want me to just drop you off? I'm like, no, let's just go straight to my house. And so
I'm glad. I'm
yeah, it
glad.
was like I haven't gone out in a while, so my body wasn't used to like an outing, and like all my like when you're home all day working from home, uh you don't have to have your bodily functions on a schedule. You can just go whenever you want to go. You can just stop whatever
Right.
you're doing
Right.
and go.
But when you go out and you're at a
Right.
movie and you're this and that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I tried. Got up
Oh no,
early.
pal.
Specifically got up early. Trying like I drank extra water. I was doing all the rituals, all the things, just hoping. And I didn't eat yesterday. So this was from 2 days ago. So I was hoping that it would have it's made its path already. Had gotten to where it needed to be in the morning, but apparently not. So
Happened.
yeah, so now I'm
Right.
sushi full. I'm like drinking this whiskey here, hoping that
something out.
Well, no, I'm hoping that it won't trigger something while we're podcasting. So we gotta.
We can only hope, my friend.
Well, I figure the scorecard for ending a podcast with a digestive emergency. I think I've done it twice, and you've done it about like 15 or 20 times. So, I definitely have some catching up to do when it comes to you in that department.
Sure, this is true. But I knew you were going to get sushi. And let me say, listen, people, he sent me a picture of this plate.
No, you could have fit
My
another thing.
God, that plate was that was not like a normal size plate. That was that was a gigantic plate. Like the plate itself was.
No, the plate was plate size.
Plate
was plate size. It wasn't like I had a pizza platter
bullshit.
thing. No, it was a regular plate, but it was. Yes, I had every square inch was covered. Here's what I thought about doing was going onto a second layer, just going 2 levels. But then I'm like, no, let's eat this, and then let it sit, and then I'll walk back over there, and maybe that way I won't commit myself to too much food, and it'll take a little longer to eat, so I'll get full before I really, and no, I went full a whole nother plate up of food, ate it, and then then that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. So, but it was good looking. It was a good picture I sent you, right?
Yeah. It was. No, it was a good thing I posted. Did you post it yet?
No, I didn't post it yet. Our Instagram's a few meals behind from both of us, I think.
I post mine. I'm pretty solid here. I don't know about you.
I post more than you. So,
here we go.
Well, I did. We can just.
You got more time than me.
Here we go. Ironically, you eat more than I do, so you should have more photos than me. Just saying. Just saying. So I put the pre-draft. Tonight's the first night of the draft, the football.
It is, yes.
I put the NFL Network on at like 6:30 or something, and because they had like a 2-hour pre-show for the draft.
Right.
Because they're ridiculous, and I caught about like 8 minutes of it. And it was I turn it on and it's Donny Osmond standing there talking to Michael Irvin and some.
Why is Donny Osmond on the?
And some lady that was hosting the carpet area. Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's in Vegas, and he's got the
whole show thing.
Yeah, he's got a Vegas show there, and he beat Michael Irvin for the Dancing with the Stars that year. They were both on it together.
Oh.
So he was ribbing him, saying, I've defeated Michael Irvin, and Irvin was putting him over, et cetera, et cetera. They were doing a lot of...
okay. I didn't know that. Yeah.
She was uncomfortable because they were like buddies, and they were doing the bro thing a lot, and a lot of hugging and headlocking and, and all this nonsense, noogies, and she's just like getting nervous because there's a lot of like activity and male bonding going on. And then they cut, like, after a while, like, it's obvious he's just jibber jabbing. He's like, the guy's been, like, performing for people for, like, 50 fucking years. They had a show called The Osmond Show. Right. It's like, you would think he'd be a little, like, he just, I don't know. It's like, it's a football show, and you're there to talk football, and, she's like, well, what's your favorite team? And he listed, like, half the fucking... teams.
Did he really?
Yeah. She's like, all right, we get it. He's like, no, but also, and she's like, she probably cut him off. She's like, dude, like, you can pick one. So then they go to an analyst table, like they cut away to the 3 people talking shit, like they have any clue who anyone's taking in the draft and where anyone's going. Bullshit. It's the biggest work in the business that these guys get paid for their opinions on the draft. It's so fucking stupid. And like they have, like, pretending they have sources. Like, trust me, any source feeding you information is feeding you a red herring. Trust me, this is the draft. Right. So I always marvel at that guys, somebody's like a Mel Kiper actually made a living off of this. It's insane.
Right.
And so then
years.
So then they cut back, and they've got Wayne Newton out on the carpet with fucking
What?
yeah, because it's Vegas, and this guy's
Vegas, right? But
this guy's
you're telling me this is who they pulled out for this?
this
Come
guy's
on,
this
these are
guy's like 90 years. Well, because it's all Vegas acts. Well,
gotta be 90.
trust me, you're gonna see. If I watched the whole 2 hour thing, we would have gone through it all. We would have seen Piff the Magic Dragon. We would have seen Carrot Top. We would have seen all these fucking clowns. So they have Wayne Newton on all like 109 years of him, with his jet black, shoe polish hair and his whatever, and he's melting. He's like a wax dummy melting out there, being held together with 20 plastic surgeries, et cetera, et cetera. And Michael Irvin is just blowing him over his like style, over him looking good in a suit all the time. You know, that whole thing that him and Dion and a couple other guys are all about the look and the drip and blah blah blah. But again, I'm like, this is awful pre-draft coverage. It's like they're just
like wrong place. Like,
it's. I mean, they have a sports team there now, and there's a lot of football makes a lot of money in terms of gambling. So So it all makes sense, except to have all these fucking residency acts that are 100 years old walking the carpet in the Vegas sun. You know, because it's
literally melting.
It's like 3 hours earlier over there, so it's like
but it's got to be in the hundreds there because it was almost 90 here today.
It was like 3:30, 3:45 in the afternoon over there when I was watching it. I'm like, oh, these fucking guys. And again, just nothing. It's like I clicked it off because I'm like, how is anyone watching 2 hours? Let alone, how could anyone put 2 hours of this together and not want to
on TV
and not want to like kill themselves by the end of it? I have a feeling because Donnie said he was making a pick for the second round. Now is like where every team sends, or most teams send somebody to represent their pick, you know, like to go make the pick for them. Sometimes it's a fucking war hero. Sometimes it's a celebrity that's from there, you know, or whatever. And Donnie said he was going to be making a pick for I don't
Oakland.
No, I think he said the Patriots.
Oh.
I think he said the Patriots.
Weird.
I could be wrong, but I have a feeling tomorrow's the night to watch. That it's gonna be like a wax museum of fucking nonsense. They're just gonna have like.
What would be great is if they had Chris Rock present the pick and Will Smith comes out. That would be great TV.
Well, you're booking ahead of yourself there, pal.
I'm booking it like it's a wrestling show.
Trust me. If Chris Rock's making a pick for someone tonight, Will Smith has probably got a restraining order and can't be within 300 yards of the building. True. Listen. If I don't know where Chris Rock's from. I don't know if he's from New York, but someone should have asked him to do it. Someone should ask him to do it. Fuck it.
Yeah. Well, hey, as long as we don't get Howard Bloody up there, we're good.
Well, that would involve cutting his toenails and going out in public.
Right. You're like, oh, the 41st pick.
I feel like he's living the Howard Hughes life these days. I don't know if you know who Howard Hughes is, but he was like a industrialist and big in the aviation industry, but he became a crazy recluse. He wouldn't leave. He was paranoid and wouldn't leave the house. And hair grew long, nails grew long, got all crazy. That's how I picture Howard these days. I feel like he doesn't leave his Vegas abode and is just growing mushrooms underneath the seat, so to speak.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I just like that it's amusing me that popped you. So,
Oh God, yeah. I did not eat sushi today, but it's got me to buy sushi because I saw your plate and I was like, shit. But I had sushi yesterday, so I was like, I don't know if I could double down.
Of course you can. Like you haven't listen. Like neither of us have ever said, "I can't eat that. I had that the meal before." I had
taken steak out already, so I had to make the steak.
Oh wow!
But I'll tell you, I made the steak and I'm starving still.
See, so
So
you'll get to the sushi.
yeah, I may
You'll
get to
get
it because
there.
it didn't look. See, we don't have a sushi place like in my town like that. Now maybe there's one in Atlanta, but we don't have one here.
Like a buffet?
Now, okay, wait,
Like
I
a
take that back.
buffet?
Right, there is one here in my town,
Yeah.
but it looks like the fucking restaurant from the Goonies. So I'm like, I'm not quite sure if I should even go in there
You
because it
mean
doesn't look safe.
you mean the one that was closed down? The Fratellis were hiding in?
Yes, the Fratellis were hiding in.
Bullet holes the size of
Like,
matzo balls.
right, and they give you like water that's like brown. Like
Right.
that's what I picture because that's what it looks like.
Well, then
So I'm like, I don't know if I want to chance it.
you're lucky I didn't send you that TikTok 2 days ago. In my feed, I got a TikTok from the local China buffet, and it was talking about how it had 221 health code violations.
Oh my God,
Oh,
boy, how's it even possible?
I don't know. I didn't even know there were that many codes you could fucking violate.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
Funny is I went to a place today that I don't think I've been there before. I've been there one other time. It was in the shopping center I was working in, and we only have two options in that area. It's Five Guys. I don't like Five Guys. And it's overpriced. Or this Italian restaurant. So I had been in there once before, and the guy was like sweating profusely, like the hostess, and he was like totally on drugs. So I was like, I'm never going back there. But today I was like, I'm gonna go back there. I'm gonna give it a shot. I go in, he's no longer there. There's a nice guy at the door, a lady. So I'm like, okay, I order a steak sandwich, and health score on the like window, and it says 100% A, but it's not like the health score wasn't on a piece of paper. They wrote it in like a marker on the window. Health score 100% A. I'm like, there's no fucking way. Like they wrote that. It's not real. Like
right,
they don't really have.
if you're
Right.
given that score by like an official rating place, you would think they would like make something that you could print up and post. Or like it's in a paper and you would
They're
just
supposed
post
to.
that or something. You know what I mean?
Right. They wrote it in pen, like or in marker on the window.
At least it wasn't
Health. It
crayon.
literally said
Like on the back
health
of one of their,
score.
like I'm picturing like an Italian restaurant. So maybe those placemat menus, and they flipped it over, took a crayon, wrote 100% whatever, and just stuck it to the window.
No, I'm not even kidding. They took it like a one of those window markers that people were right on the cars, and they
Mhm.
wrote health score 100% A.
Yeah,
There's no way. There's no way. Like that's
there's no
you're
way.
lying. Like there's no way. So I get my food now. You're expecting 100% A. I mean the onion rings were delicious, but the Philly steak sandwich was not good.
Well, it
Um,
just because everything's clean and perfect doesn't mean the food's gonna taste good. The cook may still suck, or they buy subpar ingredients.
right.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It
but at
wasn't
least
good. It was a steak.
the steak may be fresh, but it may come from a fucking horse. You know what I mean?
It was
So
a steak sandwich, and he overcooked it, and the bread was like flat, and it just wasn't good.
mm,
But it was actually disappointing.
mm.
Uh,
Since we're on
75 cents for mayo, and I'm like,
fucking everything is ridiculous. You know how much eggs have gone up in price and cheese
I know.
in the last couple of months? Holy shit!
Yeah.
Every time I like, because I don't, I kind of like barely look at stuff when I'm going through the grocery store. For some reason I look more at prices when I do it on Instacart. But man, between Instacarts, things have really gone up. It's crazy.
Wild. Yeah.
Since we were talking about sushi buffets, when was there ever a point where you didn't just go by yourself because you couldn't reconcile with being like at a table of one at a sushi buffet, or was that never a thing for you?
No, I'd go. Why would that
Yeah.
stop me?
I was just asking if there was a moment in time or whatever. I think it was a moment in time where I was like, where I felt like like say them going to movies. I've thought that was like a social thing. Even though going to movies, it's not like you're talking to anyone when you're watching the movie. But I always thought it was
Right.
like a date or a go with your friends thing, and never like a go by yourself thing. And then I
Right.
discovered the joys of go by yourself to the movies, as I have with going to a sushi buffet. I always just feel weird when it's just like one, you know. The,
No, I don't feel weird.
Yeah.
But remember, I traveled for work a lot where it was just me, and getting a table for one was normal. Like when I was in California, I was traveling so much.
right.
I had no problem pulling up to a bar or even at a table and say,
Well,
"Hey,
eating at a
just
bar
one."
is a different thing.
You know?
That's
But
ideal for
even at a table, party of one.
Yeah.
Many times I did that. I mean, go fuck yourself. I'm eating. Leave me alone.
Mm.
Now it gets weird when you order, like, it looks like you're ordering two meals because you're fat,
Right.
and they're like, "Is someone else coming?" I'm like, "Oh, no, it's for me." Then it gets a little hairy, but
Well, that's when you order it. You have them put it across from you. They never show up. It's like, I'll box it up. I'll bring it to them later. They couldn't make it. And then you're eating it. Then you're eating it in the car afterwards.
Yeah, or at the hotel after. Yeah.
Right.
I did that a few times. Yeah,
I
just
just
something to go for the kids, and it's just me. Really.
We're not at that place yet, but like God forbid, like I do notice though, like this is the thing I don't want to be, is the 400-pound guy eating by himself at the
Oh,
at
right,
the buffet.
right.
You know what I mean?
Maximum capacity. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's always like a scene. Like you can't ignore that. So I don't want to end up being that guy. So
Right.
thankfully I've got a ways to go before I get there. So
Yeah.
at least another couple years.
Right. But yeah, no. I mean, now I'm kind of intrigued to try this buffet here at least once and see what happens. I don't know. I don't even know what the review is. It could be a 5-star rating for all I know. I never even looked. It just doesn't look like it's up to code.
Go look at go look and see what they wrote on their window.
I couldn't believe it. Because I literally didn't see it till after I ordered, and I came back outside. I was waiting, and I was like, "Oh, maybe it's like they're writing there for something else." I was like, "No, that's definitely
not like it in little letters underneath by like so and so, like like so you could go look it up or something." Like
this was like they were making a statement, like
No, we're telling you.
Right. All right, I just looked it up. Wait a second. 4.2 out of 5.
They got a what?
2 out of 5. Sushi buffet? Gabby.
Okay. Yeah, but it's a different thing. Isn't that someone's opinion, not a health code thing? You're like
I really care.
You're like mixing things here.
I'm mixing things here. I care about reviews on this place because this place doesn't look good. I really don't care about the health code. Come on, I've eaten like 7-week-old salami before. I mean, it's not that bad.
I feel like the best time to go to one of these places is like 3 days after they've reopened after being violated. Like they're going to be on their best behavior for like that first week after having failed,
sure.
because they gotta get open and stay open. So that means
you got to see these reviews though. I'm over here for 3 years. Not going to this buffet because I'm like, come on. 5 stars, 4 stars. This place follows CDC guidelines. Fresh, hot, delicious food.
Yep.
Options, great service. Now, this whole time you're telling me?
I don't know, man.
One bad review in the last year.
Yeah. Well, as long as all the reviews aren't by profiles
2 months ago
without a picture.
Food was what? 1-star review. Food was overall great, but the sushi had a nasty smell.
Yeah. Well, don't eat the sushi. Don't eat the sushi.
Dessert bar had mold.
Fresh fish isn't supposed to smell like fish, apparently, is what I've been told.
I don't know. I feel like I have to chance it, though. For the podcast, at least.
There's been a couple places here that are deceiving like that. There's a place called The Ark. They're not in business anymore, but they were like in Hollywood, and they were great, but they were like this dingy, dark place. Like you go in, and it's like remember Chuck's Steakhouse?
Well, that old school, yeah.
Remember how dark it was in there, and how it was
Always dark.
like the
Always like they didn't have lights,
and
right?
everything was like
Right.
a wood motif, you know.
Yes,
This was what the
it
Ark
was.
was like, and so it was all brown,
Okay.
dark brown wood, low lighting, blah blah blah. Now that might be strategic, like you can't see the stained carpet with the lighting's low, kind of like strip club lighting. All the women look better, you know, when the lights are dim enough. That might be the same thing with the crab legs at this fucking place. But yeah, they had. I mean, they were famous for having these flavored butters, and they had a flavored butter bar, and they looked like you know, those big cans of ice cream
Right.
sitting in ice, and they would just had like a whole thing of them. And yet, although I don't think they were sitting in ice because it'd been harder to scoop them, but they had like ice cream scoops, and you scooped them, and they were like these flavor like garlic butter and raspberry butter, whatever the fuck, you know. They were like all these different colored
Right.
flavored butters. It was crazy. It was insane. They weren't cheap either. They were like $45 a person.
You know what this made me think of? I don't know if I ever told you this story. It has nothing to do. It has to do with the restaurant in Florida, but I don't know if I ever told this story. Do you remember the restaurant? I think it's still open called Peter Pan.
Yeah, it's like a diner.
Right.
It's all.
But do you know what kind of diner it is?
There's one. Well, there's one kind of like in the gay area of Fort Lauderdale, off on the railroad tracks. Is that the one you're talking about? Like
Talking
in
about.
Wilton Manors type area, Oakland Park type area.
Right, right.
Is that the
So,
one, or is there a different one?
yeah, oh, that's the
Oh, okay,
one.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. That I knew.
this was,
No, come on. That's like the same thing with the grilled cheese place. It's like in the heart of Wilton Manors. Like, boom,
well, let me tell this story here.
you're
Okay, listen.
we went with
Wilton
Alex once,
Manors,
and he caught every case there was to catch when we were there.
Wilton Manors is the gay area of Fort Lauderdale.
But
But
like
they have like good restaurants.
super affluent,
Right.
thriving,
Thriving, great restaurants,
thriving,
tons of great restaurants.
and like
Yeah,
and like it's we're you think a lot of bad things about Florida, but South Florida is pretty progressive,
right,
and in Fort Lauderdale, it's
right,
like, hey, they took over. It is what it is. You know,
right.
nobody's mad
So,
about it.
so this was like in the 2000s, early 2000s, somewhere around that time, and we were met up with Bobby Rogers and Jody X, who was his girlfriend at the time, and Bobby's like,
She
"You guys want
managed
to go
you
to dinner
guys,
with
right?
us?"
Though, right?
Right, right, right. So Bobby was like, "You want to go to dinner with us?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." So we go. He's like, "We're gonna go to Peter Pan." So we get there, and we sit down, and like maybe like 5 minutes in, I look at Eric, and I'm like, "Really weird." And he's like, "Yeah, like I can't put my finger on it." I was like, "Me either." Like I just like I don't like something is weird about this place.
Yeah.
So we order our food, and Bobby knows everybody there, and I'm like, "This is so weird." Like 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes, and I turned to Eric and I said, "There's no women in here, and every man is gay." Like it's clear as day.
Right.
And he's like, "Holy
And
shit!"
this is like what, like mid 2000s, maybe?
Early to mid,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
probably more early than anything.
Okay.
So before Bobby went to prison,
Right. And you guys are like probably a little green behind the ears for that, anyways. Like you probably haven't gone to a lot
right?
of gay bars and restaurants at that point in
We
your
had no idea.
right.
But we also had no idea Bobby was, involved in other shit that because this was like towards his demise.
Mhm.
So at the time, so I'm like, this is so weird. I'm like, how does he know everybody? Like, why are there no women here? And me and Eric were young, and we were always looking to go places where there was women. Uh, and it's just like it was weird. The whole thing was weird. So like we didn't even think anything of it. Like we just were like, oh, maybe he just like because the food was fantastic, like so good, right? And this place was like it reminds me of like you say like Chuck. It was like dark. It was uh furniture was like from the 70s. Like I mean, it was like disgusting inside there, but the food was so good.
I'll tell you that.
So
But keeping with that theme, the Floridian, that 24-hour diner
right,
that's on like Las Olas,
yes,
a
yeah,
little further south in Fort Lauderdale. That's the same thing. They're open 24 hours. They've been open forever. they're a little more east, not quite near the water, but near the intercoastal for
Right.
sure. That place has like stinks. Like the food is awesome, good service, cool place, but man, the place itself stinks because they never have just shut down and given that place like a full week douche. You know, it just needs a full
Right.
cleaning out. It's just that carpet is holding like 20 years worth of fucking everything in it. So yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how it was. Like,
with Peter Pan.
it was gross. Right. Anyway, so we didn't think anything of it. You know, we knew there was a lot of gay people there. Then we realized we were like, oh, Wilton Manors. Like, we weren't even like clued into Wilton Manors yet. Like, we didn't know. Because we stayed in Boca. We never left Boca. So, years later, when, Bobby went to jail and there was a tape found of Bobby, I don't want to say it, but he was, he was flogging someone's dolphin. It like dawned on us. I was like, it was the night that like MVP found this video. He pops it in. It's Bobby and some guy, and
Well,
so I was like,
tell the MVP side of that story though.
he watched the whole video. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, wasn't there
on me
like
and Aaron.
well because MVP had already gone to jail, right? At that point, he had come out of jail at that point.
No, he was already out of jail. Yeah.
Right. So he had his like jail mentality when he was watching that tape. And listen, I'm telling the story like fourth hand. You heard this from MVP himself. Like when they popped that tape in and Bobby was doing the sexuals, you all kind of left the room and he stayed cross-armed and watched the whole thing. And you guys are like, why are you?
He wanted to see who was right. He said he wanted to see who was the other person.
Well, it was that, but he also, I think he said something like he wanted to see if he finished. If you don't finish, it's not gay or something like that. You know what I mean? It was like there was some.
Yeah. He was like really he was into it, right?
There was some weird prison rationale that he
right,
applied.
and we left. Right.
Maybe as an excuse to watch the whole thing. I mean, you could.
I don't even know.
You could also just fast forward to the end to see if the other person comes into frame or not. You know what I mean? It's like
I think I even suggested that at one point. Why don't you just fast forward to the end, like,
Oh shit.
But anyway, I was like, okay, so we like literally me and Eric walked out of the room and we both looked at each other and I was like, Peter Pan. He's like, oh my god. He's like, no wonder everybody knew Bobby's name and it was a gay restaurant, Peter Pan in Wilton Manor. We had no clue. And Bobby's bi and it is what it is, and still obviously is our friend today. It doesn't really matter, but
yeah.
We didn't know at that point. So it was like now you put it together, 10 years later, you're like,
he was kayfabe with it. He wasn't telling anyone.
Right, he was. Right. And then you put it together years later, and you're like, holy shit! Like, I almost feel like he was trying to groom us or something. Like,
100%.
That's how doubt he was. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I feel like maybe you guys were protected by Billy at that time, but I think he tried to groom a lot of those guys. Like I think the dude, he took Agony, Prime, and Beast to L.A. for like a week.
Right.
Are you trying to tell me
right
that there wasn't some kind of like this was his way of trying to woo them? Be like, listen, if you let me, see the goods, I'll buy you a. I'll buy you a PlayStation.
It was not Marco was the one working Bobby, and probably pushing the other two ahead, going, "Yeah, go ahead, buy me that PlayStation. Take these two," because that's probably what Marco did.
But that covered that. Talk about a buffet. Like talk about three different stripes of life for for a gay man to like and sit down and indulge in. You had the little twink agony. You had the bear boy fucking beast,
Right.
and then Marco was
Right.
kind of like the typical jockey looking, dude.
Right. Big guy, right, yeah. Muscle head, yeah. Yeah.
It was like if you just want, it was like a perfect like buffet. A little of
Right.
this, a little of that, a little of this.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, but but the Peter Pan restaurant, the food is great. It's still there today.
Yeah.
Peter Pan. Yeah, fantastic. And then of course you got my. It used to be a favorite, but I don't think it's a favorite anymore. The one across the street from your house over there, the diner.
Oh, the Flashback Diner.
I don't think I think it kind of went downhill.
They were good. They've changed owners at least once in the last like 5 or 10 years. The pricing has gotten out of control. Things like I told you, they're like a la carting stuff. It's like nobody.
Right.
There's no like at that level when you're talking like the ale houses and the fucking Hooters and these types of diners of the world. When you order a burger or a sandwich or whatever, it's supposed to come with something. It's supposed to go with fries or potato tots or your choice of whatever, like a side salad, et cetera, et cetera. It's not like, do you want to pay $3 extra for fries? No, motherfucker.
It's an a la carte almost now, right?
$14.95 should not be just for a fucking burger. Like, that's insane.
Right.
That's crazy.
Well, that fucking steak sandwich and onion rings today was because I added mayo and they charged me 75 cents to add mayo, 75 cents to add mushrooms, and 75 cents to add peppers. And it was $21. And I was like, whoa!
I'll tell you something. I think that everyone's a scumbag nowadays. Inflation has gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just an excuse to ring people for every dollar. It's like, are you telling me you can't, like your margins are so slim that you're going to get, if you can't get that 75 cents for mayo, you're going out of business. It's not like you're even squirting mayo on every sandwich that goes out the door. That's like,
right.
Didn't I send you that? We were talking about the Arizona iced tea thing, and I sent you that graphic that came across my way where it said that family's made $4 billion. The price of aluminum's doubled. They haven't changed the price of the fucking stuff. They're still way in profit on the thing. Just because inflation of cost goes up doesn't mean you have to raise your prices. You can still make a healthy profit and not fuck people. And I think raising prices in this fucking era to keep your profit margins the same or better, I think a lot of people are seriously taking advantage and
they are.
And now like profits have never been better, even though everything's more expensive. It's
right. But it's not like they're giving it back to the employees.
No, it's everything's upside down and fucked up. Well, it's like dummy buying fucking Twitter for $44 billion when you could just be you could have bumped all your employees up. You could have paid that $6 billion to solve the world hunger that he said he was going to do. That when they gave him a fucking list of how to do it, he backed out of it, et cetera, et cetera. Instead, he wants to buy Twitter, which is not a profitable fucking thing to buy. I mean, he's going to
lose money.
Well, he may not lose money, but it's like all of his other businesses are insanely profitable. Twitter is never going to be insanely profitable.
No.
Especially if he wants to make it a free speech thing. I mean, you're going to drive so many people away if free speech is like letting anyone say whatever the fuck they want. Because this is what I think. I don't want to get too far into this. But I think the really like fringe people think this is a free speech issue pertaining to them. I don't think he can run a successful business and allow Nazis and Q idiots and people that are full of shit to say whatever they want. It's still they don't have a right on a privately or publicly owned fucking thing to say whatever they want. They could say whatever they want out in the world from their mouth. They're free to do that. But there is no right to say whatever you want on any fucking social media platform. That's not how it works. And if he let those people do it, it would drive everyone else away. They're the fringes. They're a small percentage, but they're annoying as fuck. I mean, when the Nazis come after a person, I saw what used to happen on Twitter. They tried to clean it up a little bit. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think he's going to let it go back to the Wild West days. I think
He isn't.
I think his freedom of speech idea is more not suppressing one side or the other for political reasons.
Right.
But he's
I think people are over. Listen, people on both sides are overdo. Like there's the super.
Well,
conservatives
because the
who are
Democrats
like,
think he's going to let everyone back on, and then
right, and they're dropping off. Did you see? Like Obama lost like so many followers because liberals are deleting their accounts because they're scared, and Republicans are adding their accounts because they think it's going to be free reign. I think they're both wrong. They're both idiots.
They're completely wrong.
It's just going to be right.
He's going. I think he's going to go on there. He's going to change a few things, get rid of shadow banning and stuff like that. But if you're talking shit, he is from the realm of science and business. He like Tesla and SpaceX and all stuff. If you can't prove what you're saying on Twitter, he's going to kick you off. That's his it's still if anyone's fact based, it's a guy that deals in like, well, if my rockets and my fucking cars aren't based on facts and science and things that prove out, lots of people die and I go broke. Same thing's got to apply on Twitter. It's like people on the left are overreacting because they're afraid this could go crazy. Right. But on the right, they're
doing the same thing, the opposite.
Well, but that's why they're getting nervous. That's why the left is getting nervous because the right is celebrating the fact that they think they're going to go back to burning crosses on fucking Twitter. And there's no fucking way he's like, all I need.
Look, all in all,
hold on.
He's still a businessman.
Right. He didn't buy this to lose $1 gazillion to let fucking Q crazies and Nazi fucks run wild. It's just not going to happen. No. And plus, if everyone leaves the platform, it doesn't fucking serve them well anyways. And trust me, if you don't think the FBI and people like that wouldn't love for the fucking Nazis to go back on Twitter so they can just track their fucking plans all the time and stop things like January 6th and whatever else. But I think all I need from him with Twitter is to just make it fair. Again, if people are talking shit and can't back it up, kick them off.
Right.
But just make the tweets editable.
I was going to say, all we want is editing. That's it.
That's all really anyone's editing. Make it a little easier to get a blue check mark and get rid of that algorithm with the timeline. Like I want to be able. Remember, there used to be a day with that or Facebook or any of these things where you would just scroll back up to where you were last on and then scroll down, and it was just. It was just time-based. It was like the people you follow in order since you last, just in the order they post, blah, blah, blah. You could scroll back far enough and then get caught up. Now it's like just random algorithm showing you what they think you want to see. And so you see the same post 18 times every time you go on. And other times you don't see other posts. It's like, I just want to be able to see everyone's post in the order they posted it in. That's the way the timeline should be. That's the way it used to be. That's when I liked it, otherwise, just the rest, the rest of it, I don't think he's going to change that much. He's going to tweak and he's going to fix, and that's going to be it.
Right.
And then all these crazies are going to be mad at him when they don't when you're like, all these like, like he's a big climate guy, like climate deniers and flat earthers and all these wackadoos think that they're going to get to go back on there and just fucking spread bullshit.
Not happening.
It's not happening. That's why I'm like, I watched our buddy Adam Barisano on Facebook trying to throw parties with his posts about like it's some big free speech thing. And I'm like, dude, I'm like thinking you have no idea. You have no idea. No idea.
Well, I did just see your roommate make a post like, oh, wow, now Facebook is violating old posts. Huss made that post almost like it's happening. Facebook's been doing that for a fucking year because all year I get posted like, you posted this 2 years ago and it's community guidelines. It's a fucking algorithm. It's a filter. It's not a human doing it. It's just the computer catches somehow something you posted old.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just happens. It's it's probably something that they have to work on and they're not going to.
Right.
But it is what it is. It's not like, because Bobby even commented on it and was like, oh, it's somebody reporting you're saying like it's probably somebody reporting your posts, and but Hustle's like, I don't think somebody's going back that far to look at my posts to report them. Like, not happening. Like,
Just
stop
the
it.
only person that goes that far back in your posts is either a mortal enemy
Right,
or your current girlfriend.
right, right.
That's it.
It's not happening.
Who else is going through your shit?
Right,
You know,
right.
not happening.
No, not happening. Not happening.
Not
Not
happening.
happening.
Especially like,
No.
can you imagine? Like, I don't even want to like if I'm like listen, every now and then like someone comments a song like, oh, she's cute. You click on the thing to see what their profile picture looks like. I never go through their photos because I don't want to even
No.
accidentally like something from
Like something.
4 years ago,
Right.
and and not
Right.
even realize I liked it. But God forbid I like it and then quickly unlike it, and it doesn't register on their thing. But
Yeah,
but
right.
sometimes you like something just because you're scrolling. You don't realize you liked it. You just hit that spot on the fucking page,
Right, right.
and then you're fucking exposed. You were
You know what?
lurking through someone's pictures 4 years back. You know, it's like you can't do that shit. So I don't even fuck with it. I don't even fuck with it. I
Right.
don't want to get caught. So
Well, you know, it's funny. I'll end it with this here. So, I, sometimes for work, if I'm investigating stuff or looking, I go on Facebook,
yeah,
and like I used to have like a burner Facebook account just for work, and then I figured, fuck, I really don't care. But you know how many times I'm like, okay, do not like add them as a friend, like like I'm looking into them. It could be an employee, it could be a customer. I, I'm looking for information on something, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to accidentally click like, and then the person's like, what the fuck, man? Like,
right.
but it's like a fear of mine. I'm like, it's gonna happen one day. Like, I'm
Especially when
gonna fuck
like
up. Like,
you're investigating someone that may not be guilty of something.
right, right. Like,
And
you're like,
that's
why were you looking at my page
yeah, it's like
yesterday?
why'd you like my thing from 5 years ago?
Right, 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 right. And you don't even have an answer for how do you say that?
I
You
mean,
know?
be like, I'm investigating you. I mean, it's honesty, I guess, is
I
the
mean,
best policy at that point.
that's policy at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy, but
Well,
yeah, but it's like my biggest fear.
but there's no reason probably to go back before they were working for you.
No, no, no.
So
You're looking for just recent, like the last
yeah.
couple
Yeah.
weeks or something, or they wearing something that maybe is missing. But yeah, But I'm always like fearful of.
How
But
how much does that work?
it never worked once. Uh, so the only thing it could work is this: like I can associate people with other people. Like I go to their friends list and go, oh, so they know this person who we're also have. It's a connection. Like I've connected the dots through friends list
Right.
so many times because I, I can tell, or they're using like fraudulent coupons or something, or fraudulent. We have like rewards, and I go look and I go, oh, they're creating them under this person's name, and then I go look and that person's their friend on
Right.
their friends list. I'm like, okay, I got you now. Like there's no turning back now. You've created it under somebody on Facebook. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So it has worked for that, but yeah, and otherwise, no. I mean, but it's funny because like in the world of loss prevention, I've heard it a couple times where like people are like, don't use your personal account because if you go, it'll show you as a suggested friend. I'm like, that doesn't work like that. That's not how Facebook works. Stop it. Like, some of these loss prevention people think they're detectives. They're probably wanted to be police or FBI, and they could never cut it, so they're just loss prevention.
Right.
And they're holster sniffers. That's what we okay. In the wrestling world, we call marks. A mark is somebody who's wants to be. They want to be a part of it, and I don't know how you would explain it really,
Well, a
but
mark doesn't have to just be someone that wants to be a part of it, but yeah, it's just I
yeah,
think a mark. It's a mark is a more general. It's like it has several meanings. It could be like someone you're working for rides and money
right,
and this, or someone you're using in some way. But other times it's just like a super fan. I think that
right,
it's
right.
a broad term that
It is right.
covers a lot of things.
So in the loss prevention world, you got the holster sniffers. That's what we call them. Those are the guys and girls who wanted to be a police officer, they couldn't cut it, or they wanted to be a something in law enforcement. and they couldn't cut it. So they become loss prevention, but they come to loss prevention with the mentality of they're a law enforcement agent. And it never works. Those people always get fired, they get sued, beat up, because it's not law enforcement. So, like, that's like our equivalent of a mark. And they'll be like, oh, like telling you all this stuff in meetings. And I'm over there like, okay, look, I mean, I'm I'm pretty like smart to a lot of this other shit. I'm not like book smart, but I'm like, these people really believe like all this shit that they're saying, and like they're just being marks. That's all. I went through a training course with a guy once that he had he was so involved in his head that like this world was like one big conspiracy, and like everybody was bad, and like he thought he was a police officer. He was not a police officer. Uh, and his thought process was, he told us that he has plans with his family. When they go out, they have code words, they have plans, they have secret signals if something happens. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I would not want to like to be in this family. Like, this is like, I would run away. Like, I wouldn't want to be there, because this guy was so crazy with some of the shit that he was saying. He always wore a hat out in public, and sometimes he wore a disguise when he was with his family. And I'm like, so like it came question time, and I was like, why would you wear a disguise? He's like, what if somebody I fired once saw me? I was like,
Oh my
I'm really sure they
God.
don't give a shit.
Oh
They don't
my
care.
God.
Like, why would they care? Why would they give a fuck? Like, you fired them from a $12 an hour job. They probably got another job 2 days later.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
he,
That's really the
yeah.
rationale. Whew.
And the funny thing is I will never forget this. He wore pants like, almost like cargo, like the military cargo pants, but they were black. You know what I'm talking about? They
Yeah.
were pants though, right? He always wore those with like black combat boots, and he always wore a very tight shirt that was a polo, and he would tuck it in, but it was tucked in so tight. He was also like 300 pounds.
Oh God.
So, and he wore this shirt so tight, and his pants were pulled up so high, and the belt was like squeezed to the fucking max. And he had like artillery around him. Like, he was like, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, he thought he was a cop. But some of the shit that he told us about, one time they went to a mall, and he saw in the distance someone he had fired once, and he had to do like the fucking secret, like, woo woo, to his kids and his wife, and they all had to go separate ways, and they knew that they had like a plan of the mall. Like, they would sit down before they went to the mall and make like a map of like if certain things would happen, where they would go and meet.
Not only is this guy off, like the cheese is slid off his cracker for like,
Right.
but he is now like roped in a wife and kids into this insanity. This is,
Right.
listen, this is the kind of kid that fucking gets bullied at school for his dad's bullshit and ends up shooting up a fucking high school.
Right.
Okay?
Right. Insane. Like,
If
when he was
he's if
telling the
he's
story, I
if
was
he's
like,
not hopefully homeschooled, you know what I mean?
but I think the kids probably like, because he even made a comment like, "Oh, the kids hated it." I'm like, yeah, of course, like, of course they do.
Yeah, can we just be
But he was
fucking normal, Dad? What the fuck?
right, and he told us the story, and like, oh, and we saw somebody who was somebody I fired, and I saw them on the top level. I was on the bottom level, and my head was on a swivel. I made the call, and we all dispersed, and I put my hat on in my disguise. Like, he had like a fake mustache and everything,
Oh
and
my God.
he's like, and then we met at our secret location, and we slid out a back door and got in the car. So I was being an asshole the whole time, and I was like, so did they see you? He's like, no, due to my skills. I was like, or was it due
Oh
to
my
them
God.
being like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
Or they didn't know who the fuck. Yeah, they saw him and didn't know who the fuck he was.
like,
Oh my
you
God.
know, I
He
will tell
probably
you.
stood out more with a fucking hat and fake mustache in a fucking public
Right?
place.
Like,
That
why is that
probably
guy putting on a fake mustache?
that probably draws 3 times as many
Right,
eyes as just walking around with your tight polo shirt and your 300
right,
pound body with your black
right,
tactical fucking pants and whatever else. Jesus
right.
Christ. Oh my God, we should have started with this because now I'm thinking of stories from college. I got a junior did I ever tell you about the junior deputy of the month or the week?
No,
Oh,
what?
all right, that's a story for next time. Junior deputy, I'm
Yeah,
writing it down.
let's tell it next time because I actually haven't. It sparked me to think about another woman I met in loss prevention who told some insane, like she's like forensic, like it's the most craziest shit. Her fucking family hates her. So we'll tell that story too because I like they're such holster sniffers and like I just never was like that. Like
No,
I'm the
because
guy
you're
who
normal and you don't give,
I'll say
and it's
this.
a fucking job to you, you know.
I'm the guy who skated by for my entire career, literally not knowing a goddamn thing, but making people think I do. I don't even know how I got this far because I don't know anything. Like I just make believe. Like that's all. Like
Listen,
it's
you're.
not that
I'll
hard.
tell you how. You're not. You're not a lunatic. You're not a wackadoo, and you're
Right.
likable. You're likable. You
Right.
can. You
That's
can.
it.
You can fucking hold a conversation with people. You can look someone in
Right.
the eye like you're not an
Right.
autistic idiot. You
Right.
know, it's like you're
Well,
just.
but
You
like
you you would be surprised how far just being a fucking normal, likable person can
person.
get
Right.
you.
Right. Well, so I'll say this last thing is
Yeah.
there is this like uh our buddy Paul Jones, him and his little group of
Can
old
you
school loss
can you
prevention guys.
book him already? You
He
fuck.
yes, he's back tomorrow, so I can call him from his
Okay.
convention.
Okay.
Which is funny. I do have a story, which I don't even know the outcome of it, but we'll talk about it next show too. Of him at the convention, he was going to do something when he saw people I work with. So we'll talk about that next time. But they created a foundation, and in this foundation, they have like they created this like certificate where you get like a title next to your name. It's like LP something, LPQ or something, and basically people are paying this made up foundation money
To
to
be
take this
like
course.
loss prevention certified in something. Yeah.
Right, take this course and pass this course, which everybody tells me the test is impossible, harder than any test they've ever taken in their life. And then you get this thing next to your name. So they keep asking me at work for the last 8 years, "Hey, you know we got a scholarship. You want it?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." And they're like, "Oh, you need it in the industry." I was like, "Why?" I mean, I could do I don't need that next to my name to know that I'm good at what I do. Like
And at this point,
I
you have
said,
enough of a resume in the fucking in the
but
field.
not only that, I tell them all the same thing. I know Paul Jones. I also know wrestling. He knows wrestling. This is the biggest work in history.
Right.
They're
Right. Right.
all being worked.
Right.
Like it's not even real.
But it's
They made
brilliant.
it
But
up.
it's
It's fake.
brilliant. You and I need to come up
It's
with some.
fucking brilliant.
You and I need to be able to certify people in some kind of
Right.
bullshit. We got to come up with something.
It's funny though because I work with said to me this week, "How does Paul Jones always fall into shit that makes him a fortune?" And I said, "It's because he's a worker. He fucking works
Right.
everybody. Like, if you all people would understand that, I didn't want to give myself up in this situation and be
He
like, oh, you
learned.
think I got where I am? Like, you
He
know?
learned from the fucking feet of Dusty fucking Rhodes.
Fucking
End of,
Dusty Rhodes!
end of
Right,
story.
right,
Dusty
right,
Rhodes is like
right,
one of his good friends. He fucking
right,
hung out with him. He did. He paid attention and took fucking notes. You know,
right.
that's
Everything Paul does is a fucking Dusty finish.
right.
Everything, and nobody even knows it. They have no fucking
That's
clue, and
tremendous.
wow,
When
he's
it's
great.
that's the thing. When it's a dusty finish, by the time all the dust is settled, everyone's confused. Everyone goes, "What happened?"
Everyone's confused,
And
right?
Paul's standing there holding the belt. That's it.
Right, making $300,000 a year, right?
Right.
Right.
Oh shit, that's funny.
That was good. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I got more. We'll tell more loss prevention stories
yeah.
next podcast. I got more. You're sparking my loss prevention
All
memory
right.
now.
Well, you gotta
You know?
listen when they come to you. Write them down so you don't forget them when we do it in a couple days.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
got the story about the lady. Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
that's good. We got a draft now. We get here.
Yeah.
My team's
Turn it
not
on.
picking anything for the next 2 days. But good
Look,
luck to
all
your
I know is
Giants.
the Giants. They didn't pick up the the 5th-year option on Daniel Jones. I think we're ready to move on. So
Yeah, you might be
quarterback.
taking a quarterback
I don't.
today.
I don't think it's this year. I think it's next year.
Well, you
So,
might as well
we'll
draft
see.
someone this year, and they can compete for the
Yeah,
fucking spot.
we'll see. We'll see.
There's also a
All
couple
right.
on the market right now.
That's the other thing. What trades are going to happen?
Well,
Because
that's interesting.
Baker Mayfield ain't staying with Cleveland.
Right. And there's a Jimmy G out there.
I would take a Jimmy G all fucking day.
Yeah.
Bring the Italian kid to New York City. Big lights.
Bright
The
lights,
Italian
big
horn.
city. Time to fucking go.
Yeah. Bring Jimmy G to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
All
see?
right.
Did you see there's some porn star that offered to bang the first overall pick in the draft?
Yeah, I saw that. Pretty
Now,
interesting.
you and I would fucking do it because fuck it. I'm already in the first pick in the draft. What heat am I going to take now? I got offered.
At that point, right?
You know what I mean? It's like, what's the
Right,
repercussion
right.
of that? If you're a single guy, how can anyone fucking hold your feet to the fire for taking? Listen,
Yeah, no.
you know, it's like, you know,
Yeah.
you're not violating any NCAA rules.
No, right.
This ain't crab
No.
legs, buddy. All right.
All right.
Although you might get crabs.
Yeah, goodbye.
Bye.